Hello, everyone. Welcome to our observability edition of Tech Talk today. We'll begin in a little bit. Thanks, everyone, for joining. We're just going to kick it off in about 1 minute to let more folks join in. All right, so let's jump ahead. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this Tech Talk session on aligning observability costs with business value, practical strategies. I'm here with Nav, Tej, and we're going to be going over a few ideas and ways you can better manage your data and observability cost and really find more efficiencies in your observability practice. Before we start, I wanted to go over the agenda for today real quick. So we'll go over a quick overview of the situation today in the observability space or data in general, and then we're gonna go over a few of these Splunk capabilities that will help you better manage your data and costs. And then we'll have some time at the end for some Q&A, and we'll share some key resources. But feel free to ask any questions you may have in the chat. We have folks here that are here to help you and answer some of your questions. So if you have any throughout your presentation, you don't need to wait till the end. You can just put them in the chat and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. All right, so if everyone's ready, we're gonna go ahead. Nav, do you wanna go and introduce yourself?
Sure. This is Navtej. I also go by Nav. I'm product manager on Splunk Observability platform team. Excited to have everyone here. Looking forward to it.
Thanks, Nav. And I'm Joanna. I'm a senior product marketing manager at Splunk, also in the observability team, and very, very excited to share more information about Splunk and how to better manage your data here. All right, so let's jump ahead. So I'm sure that you're all noticing that your telemetry volume is getting bigger and bigger and almost to the point that it's impossible to manage. And that is mostly due to an explosion of your tech stack, right? You've got more data, more teams, and more information coming from your digital systems, whether it's on the infrastructure side, network, app, middleware, you name it. There's just a lot of information coming from your system. And if you add on top of that self-service tooling, the need for unified visibility, even open telemetry, you're just having to deal with a lot of information at the same time. And that ends up being a big problem for your business and your end user experience. And more specifically, we've identified 3 major problems from not being able to manage effectively your observability data and your costs related to them. The first one is because you have more data, you most likely have to deal with more costs, right? That ends up being a big problem for your observability budget, and really finding that ROI becomes increasingly difficult as you manage more data and have fewer ways to control that cost. The second impact that a lot of volume has is it leads to more data silos, right? it's getting more and more hard to separate and find valuable data and identify the insight that you need from data that might be a little bit more residual or unnecessary or anything that's a little bit more wasteful. It just becomes difficult to find those data and make sure that you find the right insights from your environment and understand better what to do from that data. And then finally, and more indirectly, with more data, it becomes harder to find issues and address them before it impacts the business or the customers, leading to longer mean time to detect and resolve issues in your digital systems. And so you may ask, okay, I do deal with all of that. So what is the solution here? And for us, it is the idea of managing an enterprise-grade platform with more granular data and cost management capabilities. And you guessed it, Splunk has that. So the idea here is that there are three main areas that you would need to focus in order to better manage your observability data and costs. So the first one is building the right foundation. You need, from the get-go to have the best way to instrument and ingest your data. Otherwise, you're set up for failure. So if you're able to build the right foundation for your observability practice, you'll be able to easily, more effectively, you'll have the access to the right data early on, and that will help you with managing the rest of your practice more effectively. The second area that is important is being able to have that visibility into your data usage. Without having a good understanding of how your data is being utilized, what data is important, what data can be dropped or routed, you're not going to be able to know what to do, right? So if you have that deep visibility into your system, into your data, you'll be able to make the right calls and the right decisions related to your observability data. And then finally, you also, on top of that, want to be able to control easily your data volume and cost with the right capabilities and functionalities. Having the right foundation and understanding what is going on in terms of data utilization is not enough. You need to be able to take action on those insights and this information. And if you have the right capabilities, then you should be able to easily and more granularly control that data and the costs related to them. And so the idea here in this session is to help you all understand how Splunk can help you do all of that. And more specifically, you'll be able at the end of the session to know how to optimize your Splunk log licensing, gain visibility into metric volume and usage to be able to identify waste. You also learn how to centralize telemetry, pipeline management, overcome tool sprawl, but also use OpenTelemetry to reduce vendor dependencies. All right, so let's jump ahead and start with OpenTelemetry, which is really that foundation that I mentioned before for sustainable observability. So for those of you who don't know what OpenTelemetry is a open source project that provides a single set of APIs, libraries, agents, and collector services to capture distributed traces and metrics from your application. It's essentially an industry-backed extensible architecture that is completely vendor agnostic, and it helps make robust portable telemetry a built-in feature of your cloud-native software. Really, OpenTelemetry is a great solution for you to start ingesting your data because it provides that standard and a single solution without having to deal with vendor lock-in that a lot of agents and collectors usually imply. Let's take a look at the OpenTelemetry component. So there are a few different ways or components that relates to OpenTelemetry. You've got on the specification side, APIs, SDKs, data. For the collector side, you're able to receive, process, and export data. You can use it as a default way to collect from instrumented applications. It can be deployed as an agent or service. And then client libraries, you've got application instrumentation support for traces, metrics, and logs, and also mobile and browser instrumentation. But I did want to grab your attention on the data side of the specification column, because we are going to talk about how OpenTelemetry uses semantic conventions to help ingest your data with standardized naming, and it essentially help you avoid collecting data inefficiently, right? What it does is, by using semantic conventions, you're essentially removing duplicated data, aggregating data, and consolidating them into one single data set, so that you don't need to deal with too much data right at the point of collection. To illustrate a little bit more about what OpenTelemetry does, let's take a look at this, a typical app monitoring data flow. Usually, if you don't use OpenTelemetry, you might have this type of situation where you have data coming from different types of sources. Either it's like your browser data, serverless, APM, server, third-party services, and each and one of all of these data will go to their specific observability tool. And as you can see, it creates more silos. It's not a great way to get that end-to-end monitoring experience. You might even have to face some sampling, which is not ideal for monitoring. And it also creates a lot of vendor login. So in some ways, it really limits the ability to have that end-to-end monitoring experience. Now, if you do use OpenTelemetry and standard protocols, you're kind of getting rid of all of that complicated workflow, but instead, you're helping make that monitoring environment much more extensible, standardized, and future-ready, because you're using a standardized solution and ingesting and using OpenTelemetry to ingest metrics, logs, and traces into your product. In this case, it would be Splunk Cloud Enterprise or Splunk Observability Cloud. And essentially, with OpenTelemetry, you don't need to deal with vendor, right? You're vendor agnostic. You get that full stack correlation in one single place, and you're eliminating those data silos that we've mentioned before. So to summarize a little bit about OpenTelemetry, the main benefits of using OTel is that it reduces that tool sprawl that we mentioned before, which can lead to more data. You're standardizing data ingestion, you're enabling routing, you're also encouraging consistent metadata and tags, which means more usable data and less rework. This is part of that standardized streaming that I mentioned before. And then we're also essentially building a more long-term ROI for your observability, because you're having more repeatable and vendor-neutral design. And now I will pass it to Nav to go over the metrics pipeline management solution.
Thanks, Joanna, for walking through OTel. As you might have noticed, OTel is more on the ingestion side, where you can handle things by configuring, making sure you have good data hygiene. But we also have a whole suite of tools around cost controls and usage optimization with Splunk Observability that can help you control telemetry post-ingestion. Let's dive into it. It's a very interesting GIF that we have. So if you have been an industry veteran, you would understand this. As your infrastructure grows, number of metrics always keep increasing. Hygiene and cost always take a backseat in lieu of business value. But everyone has their limit, right? When the costs keep rising, we usually come back to a point on figuring out, okay, how we can actually clean up our pipelines and maintain good hygiene. Thankfully, Splunk has a solution. Splunk has good experience in treating all these kind of issues, or how you can actually help control your data volume. If we think about, so that was our motivation, to help customers be successful in controlling their data volume. That is why we released metrics pipeline management. We wanted to make sure customers have all the tools they need to control their usage and cost. So now, right now, we have two tiers in which you can store the metrics. One is real-time metrics, and one is archived storage. Everyone starts with the real-time tier. It is used for alerting, it is used for charting, it is used for dashboarding. So within the real-time tier, you have capabilities such as aggregation, filtering, dropping, and routing. That's really cool. So for aggregation, let's say that you are only interested in keeping the data for a particular region, particular service, particular namespace. Now you can actually, using metrics pipeline management, using a real-time tier, you can use the aggregation capability to keep only the data that you are using it in, maybe a chart or a detector, and keep the data volume down. If you want to go one step further, you can also filter out the data that you really don't need. You can put on filter like, hey, I need only only the data from this region. Rest all data points can be dropped. Or you can drop the whole metric. So let's say you configured hotel. Uh, it has a uh, it has a default behavior that they will start sending a lot of metrics. Now, either you can start dropping the metrics on the hotel side, or you can come to metrics pipeline management, just select all the metrics that you don't need. Maybe it's a custom one, maybe it's a default one. You can put a drop rule and make sure that it is dropped from the ingest. Now, the good thing is Splunk Observability does not charge you on ingest. So even if you are bringing a lot of volume on metrics pipeline management, we only charge for the data that is MTS level. So so it is a really good benefit that you can use metrics pipeline management to actually aggregate, filter, or drop the data within the product rather than going to the config level core changes on the hotel side. The other tier, archive tier, is something that we released recently last year. So it is kind of a cold storage. Now, there might be some charts, some so detect for detectors, you need the data single digit seconds. You need real time alerting. But there are some charts or dashboards which maybe your team uh, wanted to wanted to have to get a good idea on some of the services, but no one has been using it for 6 months. So what we suggest is, like, for all the data that you are not really using, which is unused or which is very not very frequently used, you put it into the archival. The benefit is archival storage is still available for querying for past 30 days. So what happens is, if you drop the data right now, you will not have access to any of the data. It will just go blank. All your charts and dashboards will go blank. But if you save the data in the archival storage, you will still have access to that particular data for last 30 days. Now you can just restore the data, and you can see the charts and data just flowing in. So metrics pipeline management helps to just take a look on, okay, these are some tools and capabilities available for me to help customize the usage. Now, the benefits. So in the pipeline management, you can control your metrics volume and cost by downsampling, filtering out less important data. You can aggregate, you can route to the archival. Uh, you have all the tools you need to actually control the data volume. And once and you c- also it also results in improvement in performance queries when you aggregate the high cardinality attributes. So so it essentially helps to manage the cardinality centrally within the product rather than going outside the product. If you have too many unused metrics, if you have too many, the, uh, the metrics are not being recently used, or when you want to reduce performance latency and improve your monitoring experience, or even if you're dealing with high cardinality metadata, you can use pipeline management to actually control the data volume and make sure you're setting yourself up for success. If I go to next slide, please. So metrics. So Joanna just talked us through OTel. So metrics pipeline management is not a replacement for OTel. They go hand in hand. They actually complement open telemetry. Open telemetry is used for data collection. It is on the ingest side. But once the data is ingested, we want customers to use metrics pipeline management so that they can have different options of routing to real-time storage, archived storage. They can drop as well. Because you're doing it in product, you have much more visibility, much more controls. You can route data to appropriate storage for cost efficiency. If you don't need any data right now, you can put it into archival. It is only 10% of the cost, so it actually saves you money. You can get quicker access to valuable data for time sensitive use cases, if you put it in real time storage, we have sub 10-second latency. So if you're sending a data point right now, you will be able to see in the chart within 10 seconds. You can reduce the volume and monitoring cost within the product. That is one of the greatest benefit of having metrics pipeline management within the product. And since it is available to everyone out of the box, there's no code change needed, no asking for permissions. It is just there for you to use. Uh, now, now we are actually developing to drive the point home. We want customers to utilize these capabilities, real-time tier, archival tier, so that it can actually help uh, their data volume. So what we are working on next is automating all the archiving capabilities. So we don't want customers to even think about the usage. We want customers to focus on their charting, their alerting, their services. So whatever is creating the business value, we don't want customers to think about the usage. So this is the automated archiving. This is more focused on the admins. So you can just opt into the automated archival. We have a couple of settings, such as like how far how far behind you want to look for. So let's say I'm an admin and I want to say that, hey, for the past 60 days, if there are some metrics or data points which no one is using, just archive those. I don't care about those. Uh, so one benefit that is there is for if you have to drop the data, you have to be 100% sure. You cannot really disrupt any workflows. You cannot disrupt day to day of any of the engineers. But with archival, one of the benefit is even if you archive, you still have the data available for past 30 days. So this gives admins much more control and flexibility. So even if they are 50% sure, they can put the data into archival, and then maybe after a month they can try to drop. So this brings up to a good point, like, hey, we want customers to not really think about usage. So want we want controls to automatically archive. So when customers opt in, they can we can automatically route their unused metrics which are not used in any detectors, charts, or APIs in the past 30 to 60 days to archival tier. So you don't have to manually analyze or identify how to optimize the metrics. This will also ensure continuous optimization while allowing users to transition to archived metrics to real time when needed. Let's go through a quick demo of the automated archival actually. Let me go there.
Welcome to the Automated Archival project demo. This demo will show you how a user will be able to use automated archival features. Automated archival is part of the metrics pipeline management. Let's first navigate to the automated archival page. So first you go to the settings, metrics management, and finally the pipeline automation. The goal of automated archival is to send the unused metrics to the archival tier. On this page, a user will have the ability to create or update archival configurations, add or remove metrics to exemption list, able to preview the metrics, and be able to activate or deactivate the automated archival. Let's first look at the preview feature. Preview provides the ability to download a CSV file where a user will be able to preview the metrics that are eligible candidates for archival. The CSV will consist of metric name, average hourly MTS count over the lookup period, and the percentage over the total. Exemption list feature. This feature allows users to add metrics in bulk to the exemption list. You can go to the add metrics and then search for the metric by name. And this feature will allow you to add metrics in bulk to the exemption list. So here I'm adding these 3 metrics, and all the metrics that are added to the exemption list will be exempted from archival. So these metrics will not route to the archival tier. Here, preview feature can be actually very helpful in identifying the metrics that the user may want to add to the exemption list. User will also have the ability to remove the metric from the exemption list. Based on the need of the user, they also have the ability to create the archival configuration Select the age of unused metric. This represents the number of days a metric hasn't been used and is considered for archival. User can also select the metric grace period. This represents the number of days a new metric is ignored by automation, and these metrics will not route to the archival tier. For both of these configurations, user have different choices from the drop-down. Once the user is happy with the selection, they can apply those settings. After the settings have been applied, finally the user can activate the automated archival by clicking on the automated archival job. And once you activate the job runs every 24 hours. It picks up all the unused metrics and route them to the archival tier. So for this demo, we already had a archival run last night, and so this job ran around 4 a.m. on 15th and actually ended up archiving a bunch of these metrics which were unused and were eligible candidates for archival. And finally, once the users feel they have done enough archiving, they also have a choice where they can deactivate the automated archival job by clicking the deactivate button, and this kind of deactivates the automated archival. This concludes the automated archival demo. Thank you.
Hopefully you enjoyed the automated archival demo. So here's a quick plugin. So one of our customers recently actually utilized all the metrics pipeline management. They went from 100 rule sets to more than 10,000 rule sets, achieving over 15% reduction in the cost they were paying for the metrics. So in this webinar, we really digged into what did they do, how did they do it, what were the tools they were using, what was the motivation. So if you want to just scan this QR code to watch it on demand, it is I'm sure it will be really good insights. Let's move on to the next item on the agenda. So we have been talking about all the actions that you can take to route data, filter data, or aggregate data. But there is one part that is still missing. What is how do you know what data to take action on? With automated archival, we're going to be solving the whole bunch of use cases around unused, lowly used, and whatnot. So to answer the question of visibility, we have one more tool that helps to see which data is used by your organization and who is using what. So in the metrics usage analytics, you can get detailed visibility of metrics usage within the UI. You can understand which metrics, dimensions, and tokens are generating the most metric time series. You can actually determine if metric data is being consumed in charts and detectors, because that is the most popular use case. You can also identify what are the high cardinality dimensions that are contributing to that particular metric. And once you have all this information, you can easily go to the metrics pipeline management or maybe even the Oracle agent and try to take some actions on what do you need, how you can optimize, and are there any more insights that you can get out from this data. The benefits. So with the metrics usage analytics, which is kind of a visibility layer, you can track the high volume metrics. We actually give you the percentage on if this metric is contributing to like 10% of the overall metrics usage. You can detect the bloat by dimension, service or source. You can filter by tokens, you can filter by dimensions. We are actively adding more and more capability and filtering and more attributes so that you have a whole data set on how you're actually using all of the metric data. And once you have all this information, it is very much easy, very much clear to figure out what needs to be dropped or archived. If you're trying to locate and manage your unused metrics or figuring out what are the metrics you need, you can use usage analytics. It has also been used for some of the customers when they want a chargeback. So because we give the usage by tokens, you can actually see which department or which business unit is contributing how much percentage into your overall metrics usage. You can track down the high metrics volume. You can figure out which teams specifically, because of the dimension key value pair, are contributing to that specific MTS count, or if what resulted in a spike. Once you can also identify all the low value data, so that you can make informed telemetry decisions. I do have a couple of screens to just walk around. So with the metrics, so if you are already a Splunk observability user, you can just go to settings, your metrics management page, and you'll be able to see how much MTS you're currently contributing as a whole within the product. You can see the distribution by metric, you can see the billing class, you can see the utilization if it is being used in any charts or detectors. We also have a very good utility score column, which helps you understand what is the if a metric is being used in 1,000 charts and detectors, or if it is used in only one. Based on that, you can make a decision. And we have the overall MTS column per metric. We also have a dig-in capability. So for a per metric level, you can actually see what dimensions, what tokens, what charts, and what detectors are actually contributing to that particular metric. So it is not just overall, we just give you very surface level information. We are actually giving you deep level insights for a particular metric, where exactly is the MTS coming from. And once you have all that information, you can directly go to that particular pipeline management, create a rule set that, hey, for this metric, I'm gonna be having it all in the archive, but I'm gonna also have a subset of that metric MTS into the real time. So you can actually have a lot of permutation and combination to see what data you actually need, what data can be dropped, data can be archived, what data can be aggregated or filtered out. So these tools go hand in hand, making sure you're set up for success and you're actually getting all the business value you need from the charting, alerting, dashboarding, without really being concerned about the cost aspect of it. I will pass over to Joanna.
Awesome. Thanks, Nav. And for those who are interested in trying out the automated archiving feature, just let us know. This is still a feature that we're working and developing, but once we have maybe a preview, or even when it goes GA, just let us know, and we can keep you in the loop for this one. All right, so logs to metrics. How to free up your log license. So you might not know this, but we do have a little secret to tell you. Logs actually can't do everything, and it's coming from the Splunkers, so we know what we're saying. No, they're great, obviously, if you're looking to, for security, for maybe compliance, or even audit, or root cause analysis. But they also have their limitations, and that's mainly because most logs are heavyweight or expensive. And that means that if you use logs for things like, understanding your trend or for real-time alerting, it can become very, very quickly costly to your business. So what is the solution here? Well, what we suggest is to transform and convert those logs into metrics. Metrics are much lighter, they're cheaper to store and query, and so when you convert your logs into metrics, you're really helping alleviate this volume and cost associated with this volume. The way it works here at Splunk is that we have a ingest processor, which is part of the Splunk Cloud Platform solution, and essentially there's a data management interface in which you can directly and easily convert your logs into metrics. Now, as I've said, when you transform your logs into metrics, it's very much appropriate when you're looking to get much faster insight into your systems for real-time alerting. Let's say you get to pay less for data storage because you're turning those high-volume logs into those lightweight metric data, and you're also centralizing your report and trend analysis, right? You're summarizing the events and easily identifying patterns within your systems by combining those metricized logs with Splunk Observability Cloud. Because what I forgot to mention is once those logs are turned into metrics, they are going to be ingested. They can be ingested into Splunk Observability Cloud, so you can visualize those metrics in context with logs and traces. Now, to dive more into the benefits of log metricization, as I mentioned before, the idea here is that you're able to transform those heavyweight logs to much lighter metrics. You're able to enjoy a lower cost storage and query. And as we mentioned, it's better suited if you're looking to deploy more real-time learning. And that's an ideal situation if you're looking to free up some of your log license for more strategic and compliance-related use cases. And also, if you're not sure about OpenTelemetry, but you're just trying to figure out, what's the best interim strategy for better managing your data, then log metricization is a great way to do so. Now, in the next slide, we're going to cover a quick demo. This demo is in context of a larger demo, so there might be some some data that's related to something else, but overall, it should give you a good overview of how log metricization works here at Splunk.
To achieve a similar goal. Here, I have several pipelines created, and if you need to create a new pipeline, you would use the new pipeline button. Now, let's take a look at the pipeline that I already have. Here, I have SPL2 code written to send the metrics to both my Observability Cloud as well as Splunk. Now, let's take a look at the raw data. This is the raw data we saw at the beginning of the demo, where it has a lot of key value pairs. And our goal is to filter out events or key value pairs that are of low value for us. Here in the SPL code, I've picked two dimensions, one being level and the other being response code. So let's take a look at our metrics destination, and you can see it's only sending two of those key value pairs to Splunk Observability Cloud. In addition, ingest processor UI provides you a preview on what your implemented pipeline looks like and also shows the destinations it's routing your data to. And here, in my case, I'm sending these key value pairs to my metric destination, which is at Splunk Observability Cloud. Now, let's take a look at the Splunk Observability UI. As you can see, by having ingest processor in the picture, I'm able to send high quality data to my Splunk platform. And once the data lands into my Splunk Observability Cloud, I can use features like detectors to set alerts and stay on top of my environment. Now, you might also be wondering, how do I know how much data is being reduced through my ingest processor? Well, ingest processor UI provides you a clear visual on how much data is incoming and how much your pipeline is outputting to your destination in terms of your data volume, as well as the number of events. Now, you might also be wondering,
Joanna, are you on mute? Sorry.
I was on mute. You're right. Thank you, Nav. I was trying to not talk during the video, but thanks for letting me know. No, what I was saying is, if you're interested to learn more about logs to metrics or ingest processor offers a lot more capability than just log metricization. So feel free to reach out to our teams if you're interested in trying it out. It's a very powerful data management solution, and it really helps you make the most of your data at Splunk. Last thing I wanted to cover today is the Log Observer Connect. So I'm not sure if you're all familiar with this. If you're a Splunk Cloud or enterprise platform customer today, you should be able to know about Log Observer Connect, and you should be able to use it. Essentially, Log Observer Connect is helping you use the logs that you have today in your Splunk platform solution and reuse them in Splunk Observability Cloud. The advantage of that is that you're essentially centralizing your logging across security, IT ops, and engineering teams in one place. Whether it's via your service account or unified identity capability, Log Observer Connect will help you use logs and visualize them in context with metrics and traces to help you better understand your digital systems and accelerate troubleshooting. As I mentioned before, when you're when you're reusing your logs across different teams and different solution and use cases, you're essentially creating more operational efficiency and you're optimizing your costs. There's less silos, have the same data, the same context, and so there's less firefighting involved, and you're also creating better operational maintenance. Let's see a little bit more about Log Observer Connect. So in terms of benefits, same as I mentioned before, right? Log Observer Connect helps you access the same logs contextually for troubleshooting. You don't need to deal with additional ingestion costs because it's one same logs. You don't, in case you had like another observability solution, you would have to pay twice for the same logs, which doesn't really make sense from a budget perspective. You're also able to maintain existing security and retention poster, which is obviously critical for customers today. And RBAC ensures that developers and SREs only see what's relevant. RBAC is maintained across Splunk Observability Cloud and Splunk Platform and Enterprise. So that's also very important to make sure that data security is maintained across products. And then finally, in terms of use cases, Log Observer Connect is great if you're a Splunk Cloud Enterprise customer today and you're trying to expand, or you just want to be using Splunk Observability Cloud and you're trying to find efficiencies and centralize your logging, or even just try to consolidate vendors. All right, another demo right now about Log Observer. So essentially, we're going to start with the APM here. When you look at your attack spotlight, you're able to look at your payment service and notice there's an error going on. And so with the related content here in Splunk Observability Cloud, you get to see your logs. And again, you're staying in context as you go through the Log Observer UI here. And you can see here from the index that your logs are coming directly from Splunk Cloud. And with the field here, you can filter by severity. You can choose what severity you're looking at here. You just want to look at the error ones. And when you run the search, what you'll see is only the logs related to that error. And the advantage, again, because you're still in context, you can go back to APM and maintain that context, either it's APM or IAM, infrastructure monitoring, whatever that is. That was a very quick demo. All right, and I think that is it for us. Just wanted to now pass it back to Nav to go over our key takeaways.
Yeah, thank you, Joanna. Hopefully you enjoyed this, enjoyed our little demos and sessions. We made sure to give out relevant, actionable insights that you can actually take it up right away and act on it. So make sure your observability investment pays off. It's not cheap, so we want to make sure that we are setting you for success. So observability costs money, everyone knows, but we can actually control how wisely it's spent. So we have a bunch of tools, we have a bunch of capabilities which can actually help you control the usage. So for example, Open Telemetry provides the scaffolding for long-term sustainability. Everyone is moving to open source. So Open Telemetry makes sure that you're not vendor locked in. You have those, you can actually take benefit of all the open source technologies available and power it through Splunk to get exponential value. Log to metrics conversion. So if you're already using Splunk logs, you can actually convert it into the metrics to make sure you are using the right data type for the data that you need. And once it is converted to metrics, you have all bunch of tools like metrics pipeline management that runs budget plot that can help you route the data to different tiers, that can help you control the data volume. We have the visibility layer, user analytics that can give you information on what actions to take on what items. And if you already have the log investment, Splunk makes sure that you don't pay twice for the same signal. So all in all, we want to make sure we are setting you up for success. We want to make sure your investment is getting spent wisely, and you're realizing the whole business value out of it. So on the what's next part and the resources, so we do have some really good ebooks, blogs, tech talks, and webinars, which can help you get more and more info on usage optimization and cost controls. And we have product docs on usage analytics, pipeline management, metricization, log observer connect. If you feel like you're getting stuck somewhere, feel free to reach out to us. Feel free to reach out to your salespeople, product people, anyone you have in line would be happy to help you out. I think we are on Q&A. Jenna, is that right?
Yes, it sounds like we've most of those questions were answered via chat. But if you have any live, feel free to put them in the chat, and we can address them now. I don't see ones now, but we can wait a little bit. If not, I believe we have a couple more slides on upcoming events. Yeah, so if you haven't yet joined the Splunk community, please do. There's a lot of great information coming out of it. We've got Splunk community office hours, Splunk answers, discussions, ideas. We also have a lot of information coming directly from the product pipeline. So if you're curious about what we're building, what we're working on, or if you just want to learn more about how to better use Splunk products, then we really encourage you to sign up or sign directly into the community if you want to learn more about other peers that are dealing with the same issues as you as well. And another thing that's very exciting is Conf. Conf is coming up real quick. We are very excited to be holding it this year at Boston. It's early September. Make sure to join, sign up, talk to your salespeople to see if you can come and attend. You'll be able to connect with thousands of Splunk users just like you. You'll deep dive into technical content and impress your boss and maybe others with your new skills. And you'll also see real-life examples of how others are using Splunk to avoid disruptions and downtime. So yeah, make sure to join. It's going to be an exciting one this year. I do see one question live, but can you share? Oh, okay. I guess this is a good one now for you. Or Mike, I guess is answering, but could you please share an updated timeline for the automated archival feature? Specifically, when do you anticipate it will exit development and become GA?
Yeah, so we are expecting it to be generally available in 2 to 3 months time frame. It would be earlier. So yeah, but if you are really interested in maybe getting to private preview or something like that, feel free to let us know. We can make sure that you get early access and you can test it out.
Awesome. Thanks, Nav, and thanks, Kate, for the question. Awesome. Well, I think that's it for now. Again, if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to us. Again, we're here for you. We hope that session was interesting, productive, valuable, full of insights. But if nothing more, then I think we can just see you all around. And again, we highly encourage you to see you at Conf, but if not, we'll see you in the next session. Thank you all. Thank you so much.